So hello and welcome to another session on women's writing. Let's continue with girls. We stopped with the narrator and all coming home. Ma has come home to give birth to their fourth child, and they are hoping that it would be a boy this time. We stopped with grandmother praying for a boy. Okay, so let's begin. The grandmother folds her hands and she prays. She prays for the protection of her honor, and she believes her prayers will be answered and she would be blessed by a grandson. We also see Tulsi Dai, who applied oil to Ma's feet, remarking that it would be a son this time, and if her words prove right, then Ma would have to buy her a sari. It is Ma's remark, the narrator's mother's remark, Lali's remark, that brings out the Indian society's attitude to girls. Till a woman gives an heir, she will be burdened by this tiresome agony. And if she doesn't, both the mother and child are seen as inferior. The woman is seen as one who cannot, this woman then is seen as one who cannot honor her family. Even within women folks, even within this women, there is this bias towards one who has a boy and the other who has only girls. The Dhruva star can be seen as a symbol used by Mrinal Pandey over this sort of injustice. The narrator's father always told her that if she had worked hard, or if she worked hard, she would be like the Dhruva star. That is, destiny and providence will reward her. The narrator's reply, "But I am not a boy," is relevant here. Dhruva is the pole star. There is a legend, a story, a very interesting one. It's about a boy who was rewarded for his goodness and faith by being turned into a symbol of constancy. Now this can be read in multiple light. It can be read as the injustice, or in the light of injustice. The boy, because he was steadfast and is rewarded by fate, and he suffered in the hands of his stepmother and his father's love being rejected. And here you can look at it in the sense, in that light, the injustice, that is women considered as inferior, the same fate as of Dhruva, and they will be rewarded sometime later. Another one, it stands for male dominity, the male dominating the female. The narrator's comment, "Am I not a boy?" or "I am not a boy, am I?" So even if virtue is to be rewarded as per the legends, one ought to be a man. So you can read it in different light. Okay, it is open to multiple meanings. Now, the Indian social system where girls are not offered education, where she is confined to the four walls, can be read through the narrator's comment when she obstinately says, "But I can't become a boy, can I?" Though she indicated Dhruva star and its story. Okay, Mrinal Pandey, though she has used this, Mrinal Pandey uses it to bring out the social inequalities based on gender through this story of Dhruva star. In the next paragraph or the next passage, we find the plight of daughters-in-law at the hands of her in-laws through Choti Masi. Choti Masi says, "I don't even get as much respect as a dog does in that house." And Ma's reply makes it even more pronounced. She tells her that all women suffer the same way and they cannot change the system. The daughters-in-law are always considered the other, and that one just have to suffer or endure it. The narrator listens to all this and is perhaps getting it registered in her young mind. The plight of women in the society, that is. She could either accept it and internalize it and fall prey to the same fate as her mother or her aunt, or she can analyze and change the situation, be rebellious and change the situation. But the story does not tell us about what the narrator feels. It just leaves it at that. And it is just one day of the narrator's life. Through that we will not be able to, but from the narrator's attitude, we understand that she falls in the second category. That is, she rebelliously wants to bring in a change. The next morning, the narrator, who had overheard the conversation between Ma and Choti Masi, asks what Choti Masi had to endure. The narrator receives a tight slap for having asked such a question. Another aspect that you see here, or that Mrinal Pandey brings here, is the adult world versus child world. Children are very innocent. Ma's attitude towards the narrator questions her love for her daughters. We kind of get irritated with Ma and her nature. It looks as though she does not care for her daughters. All she wants is a son. And if she gets a son, what would be the fate of her daughters? Are they considered inferior? The elder sister, who is slowly surpassing the age of innocence, understands the adult world. But instead of being rebellious, she accepts it. That's the difference between her elder sister and herself. She does not question it, unlike the narrator, whose rebellious nature to such inequalities has made her mother's greatest headache. So from the start itself, we get to like the narrator for her innocence and also her attitude to what she feels is not right or proper. You'll find the world of children versus that of adults in most of the passages here. The Choti Masi's comment, Jijaji is really the limit, and the sudden laughter is not understood by the little narrator. She stands confused. What's so big deal to laugh at it? Thinking in that way. You also find women of the working community not having given a name. She is called Hari's mother. This is another view of the Indian society. You may have come across that in Roots and Shadows as well. Mother's attitude towards her daughter continues. That girl must be harassing her. She was born only to plague my life. These are the quotes from the girls, Mrinal Pandey's The Girls. Girls. And this is how the narrator's mother treats her girls, especially the narrator. She wonders if mother birds, the narrator is really hurt, and she goes outside, looks at the birds, and she wonders if the mother birds also think the same as or think of their girl birds as inferior. The narrator, who wishes to sleep next to Nani, is disappointed by her remark. Nani's grandson alone has the right to sleep next to her. She politely wades the narrator away, telling her that her grandson does not sleep elsewhere, and that there is no space for two in this bed. The elder sister knew this well, and from this we know that she has accepted the situation and is more practical. But again, her trembling anger The elder sister's anger, trembling anger, shows how much she too hates this attitude of her relatives towards women or towards girl children. The next day was the day of Ashtami. In fact, this is the most important part of this chapter, the Ashtami day celebration. It is a day when young girls, virgin girls, are worshipped as Lakshmi. The Indian system considers women goddess or Lakshmi. However, it stands as a ritual alone. In reality, women are given no value and are considered inferior. Her dreams, self-esteem, identity has no value at all. The narrator's grandmother calls all the girls and gets them ready for the puja. However, our rebellious narrator, who is agitated and angered by the way her mother scolded her and tried to beat her, questions this ritual. Though spoken from the perspective of an innocent hurt child, the child actually gets hurt only because she does not know what is happening and she feels sad. And only because she was playing that of an engine. She imagined that she was an engine. At that time, when she was called for the puja, she refused to come and her mother was about to punch her, and the child gets affected and she's hurt, and from the little girl speaks or questions these pretentious rituals. But again, it is through the perspective of an innocent hurt child that this question arises. Mrinal Pandey, actually the author, questions these pretentious rituals through the little child. Hari's mother's comment is yet another place where the society has ingrained or interpolated in the child or in her the way she must behave, the way she must act or behave. Hari's mother's comment, what a temper for a girl to show, shows that there are certain ways or manners that the society has given or has conceived about girls' behavior. The story ends with the narrator throwing a tantrum. However, it is more likely that this tantrum is somewhat psychological. Her screams are perhaps one burning inside of her. The short story ends with the narrator running outside the room screaming, the pigeons scattering. Her anger bursts out like a volcano. She just questions, or she is angered by the whole pretentiousness. Girls are considered inferior, yet they are worshipped as goddess. The importance that is given to a male child, the superstitions, and so on. So Mrinal Pandey beautifully brings out the Indian scenario through the and the position of women in her short story, Girls. So that's about it. We have come to the end of the Girls. That's it. It's a short video because we had already done the previous one earlier. We have completed the short fiction as well. So thank you and keep safe.